Well, hello everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome along to your post-match reaction here on the Rangers Rabble Podcast. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of your time this afternoon and joining us. If you could, just before we get started, I might as well do this now and then it's done and we don't need to talk about it again. If you could hit that like button and subscribe over on YouTube. We're 400 away, I think, from 17,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, if you could please hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you hit the like button as well on YouTube, then it helps to share the podcast about. And of course, follow us across all socials. All the links are in the description. And a big hello to everybody watching on Facebook and everybody watching on Twitter. My name's Martin. I'm your host. And joining me today, I've got my good friends Alex and Mark. Alex, what flavour of Monster are we drinking this hour?
The old Viking berry, mate. Why not? A wee Viking berry. Why not, mate? Get it in, get it drank. Why not?
How many of them did you have to drink to stay awake through that game?
One, fortunately for my heart, to be fair, because that was boring, man. We're talking about birthdays and star signs and everything. That's how funny it was that game was so riveting that we couldn't take our eyes off it, mate. Honestly, so good.
Yes, Mark, how you doing, mate? All right.
Yes, I'm good, mate. I'm looking forward to another post-match reaction with the pair of yourselves. Not an interesting one today. I don't think there's not a lot to talk about, but I'm sure we'll find a few points, and hopefully the people in the comments will have a couple of questions as well that we can get answered.
Yeah, look, I don't want anybody to switch off, right? So please keep watching. We'll try and keep you entertained if we possibly can. But that was chronic, the day, right? There's no other way for me to describe it. That was absolutely chronic. Like, away. Phoebe, away. That's about the most exciting thing you will get today. Alex, take over for a second, please.
That's all the drama you get from Martin. There you go. Martin's showing the level of drama there for you, Mark. But he's right. I mean, it was slow. It was a boring watch. It wasn't the most exciting thing that we were going to watch on a Sunday. But the comments are all saying it, Mark. The most important thing from today, and it's been spoke about for a number of weeks now, was that it was 3 points. The biggest thing we needed today against St Mirren was 3 points. When you look at it, our last 3 visits there, we've had 2 draws and a loss. So it was never going to be an easy day. But we didn't make it any easier, any exciting. We didn't put confidence back in us that we were actually going to look like we could go there and turn up against this St Mirren team that are struggling. They're down the bottom of the table. We just made it that more bit difficult for ourselves.
Yeah, so we've not won there since 2024. So they're obviously a tough team opponent usually anyway. But I think I was expecting that game today. I was expecting it to be like that, regardless if they've lost their manager or not. I think they're still a solid team, but they're struggling down the bottom for a reason. But I think we've got our own issues this season. We've seen how we've played this year, but it is the most important thing is 3 points and onwards to international break, is it now? And then we've got a game. Was it a week on Sunday, a week on Saturday? So
a week on Saturday, we've got a game at the weekend.
We've got a week to.
We've got a game this weekend, Mark. I know it was boring, right?
Was it? I thought it was international break.
Sorry, not this weekend because we've just played.
Is there not an international break? I thought it was an international break.
No, we've got a game on Saturday. We've got we're at home to Aberdeen.
Sound. Aye, so on to that one. So we get a week of training and then we get 3 points against Aberdeen and then crack on from there.
You know it's a boring game when you've completely ruined somebody's mind and they don't know what games are coming up. That's how you know it's been a boring game. Right, listen. I think Alex is spot on there, right? And Alex, mate, I'll come to you for that. Before we get into the nitty-gritty individual performances and is it good enough when you go to play better teams in the league? Will the performance today be good enough against teams in the split? Well, we play like that against teams in the split, right? We've got all right to talk about, Alex, right? Mm-hmm. But people in the comments, yourself, people on social media, everybody's hit the nail on the head. The only thing that was important today was 3 points. How many times have we sat here after Celtic have dropped points? Not so much Hearts, because Hearts aren't usually in this position, but after a team above us have dropped points and we've got a chance to make up some ground, and we've had that chance in Hearts this season before, and we fail. And especially at a ground like St Mirren. Now, I get it. people are going to say they're second bottom. They're jank. They are. They're jank. We should be doing much, much better. But as history has shown, as you've just said, we don't usually do that well there.
No, when we go to Paisley, we don't do well. Over the past 3 games, I said that we've not done well at all. We're usually chasing the game. But the biggest thing today was 3 points. We needed to not lose any ground on the 2 teams above us. And we've done that today by getting the 3 points. The biggest thing for me was that we didn't play well. We didn't look like we were up for it, but we dug in. We got the goal in the first half with Tur Romans. And the biggest thing for me is that we just need to keep going. Will we play like that against like Hibs, Falkirk, Motherwell, Hearts, Celtic? Probably not. But that's where you've got to dig in. I'd have taken a 1-0 win today. I'd have wanted the performance to be a bit better, but I'd have took a 1-0 win because, again, it's still 3 points. It's still injury-free. I think it's just a lot of people are getting their backs up because the performance was so poor. It was a shit watch. Let's not mince about it. It was so bad to watch, but it's still 3 points. St Mirren are managerless. They've got to fight for survival. That's why they're playing like they did. They've got to try and get points. Because Kelly won last night, they know they're in a relegation fight, but we just got the 3 points, and it's now move on to Aberdeen at the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. Although, I mean, I'll come straight back to you, Alex, with Multiple Man. He's straight in the comments. He's after you. What is Hightower on about? Didn't look up for it. He says we matched them physically and won that battle.
Yeah, but we had 17 shots at one point with 7 on target and 1 goal. Like, yes, we matched them physically, but again, it's St Mirren, like the second bottom in the league. We need to be doing a lot better. We almost made it 2. Well, we should have with the Asgard chance, but how many times can we actually sit here and go, how many times through that game can you go, that was a great chance, that should have been a goal? There wasn't many. There was a lot of chances where it came off an opposition player. The chance in the first half where Yusuf Chimiti is in front of his man, spoke about it at half time, still puts it wide. We didn't look like we had that killer instinct today, and I think that's why I'm saying we didn't look up for it. And for a while now, we've lacked that killer instinct. Last time we properly seen that was the first half in the league against Celtic. Bar then, we've not really looked up for actually taking the fight to teams and just getting a win. And Mark is now transformed into a win. There you go.
Mark, that is quite a scary picture. Not the Wayne, but I mean, it looks. Mark, if you're going to do that, mate, remove yourself there because that's quite scary. But yeah, I mean, look, Scott's saying it here, Mark, in the super chat, and thank you very, very much. Swear Gogic isn't human. Trim that beard, Martin. We're ignoring the beard jokes today, Mark, because one day mine will look as good as yours, right? But not quite today. But Gogic isn't human. Well, I mean, he's attacking his own players, Mark.
We all have dreams, obviously, Martin, that one day you can aspire to have a beard like mine. But
one day, mate, one day.
Gogic is a solid player. I mean, he's not technically gifted, but he's a solid player. He gets up and down the pitch. You see him, he defends. He's there at the last line. He clears the ball. He's an old-fashioned centre back. So, and he's getting on.
Mark, was there any need for him to take out his own player?
But he's like that, isn't he? He just smashes into tackles. He's not got a fear. He's right in there. If he was a little bit more technically gifted, I think I'd have probably looked to get him to us a few years ago, but I think that ship's well and truly sailed. I don't think he's good enough technically for us, but as a siege last line defender, he's right up there.
I mean, I would have took him previous, to be fair, but not now. He would have been a stopgap if we had took him, and we don't need him anymore. But yeah, no. He's to be fair, Alex. He gives St Mirren or Hamilton or whatever team he's playing for. He gives them everything.
I mean, he gives him everything. I mean, he gave a fair amount of blood today as well, to be fair. But it was quite funny because somebody I can't remember who it was, they put in the watch along that the manager list, St Mirren must have said to Gogic that he's playing shite, get him off, because he absolutely stuck the nut in his own teammate to the point where he's got a gash in the side of his head, going, I'm not going off, I don't need to. The blood's pouring. He's just trying to wipe it off. He's going, I'll stop it with my hand, I'll just wipe the blood away. And just did not want to be moved. Then later on, the rain starts and again refuses to go off to get the blood cleared, and then he plays the last of the game with blood going down him. So he's an absolute fighter. Alex Gogic, I think he's now past the point of coming to somebody like Rangers, but
yeah.
He gives that extra bit of defence. He probably is like the hard man centre back most teams want, because he just fights. He doesn't actually care. Goes in for tackles. I mean, surely he's got to have a Serheed with that gash. He was still winning every one of the headers he went for. So somebody like Alex Gogic just shows that he's got that mentality in the back line. But Rangers obviously stood up to that challenge as well, because Giga and Fernandez look solid. We'll come and talk about them later on. But Gogic just decided he was a one-man mission to get a sub done early and just get his man off. Must have decided he wasn't playing well enough and thought, I'm just going to stick the nut right in you, because they were the only two that went for that header.
It's quite incredible for Gogic. Right, listen, before we go any further, I think we should hear from the manager. We've set our stall out, right, before we get into any discussions and before anybody jumps down the throat and starts putting in, we won, yous are being a bit over the top, etc., etc. We have said we've won. That is the absolute main takeaway, main thing from this game. Delighted that we've won, and we're now obviously going to go on and discuss some individual performances. But before we do that, I think we should hear from the manager.
Danny, well done. What's your assessment of today's game?
Win 8 cup finals now.
What pleased you, or what more could you have got of that performance?
Yeah, clean sheet is always good. I think all in all, they had not so many opportunities, or not really a big chance. We can score more goals, then it's the last 5-6 minutes easier for all of us. But yeah, reaction, I think table looks better now after this game, not more. 8 games to go, and we have to prepare the next one. This is all about the next now. Today we can be happy, but now we have to go again and again and again.
You know, people can look at the last away results when it's no wins in 3, but you've got the draws. Coming here and just making sure you get the job done, is that what's going to be required now when you say 8 cup finals?
Yes. In this time of the year, especially in this time of the year, it's general apart, but now it's all about results. Take the wins, and if it's a dirty one, then we take it as well. I think the last 3 performance was great, but without the right result, and today I take this one.
I was saying a bit in terms of would you want more from those performances. In terms of the second half today, was it a case of seeing it out or trying to kill it off?
Yeah, general, I think then we have 2-3 transition moments, then it's the final pass, even the final situation with the offside should be not offside. Yeah, stay the step in behind, then we have a 2-0. Yeah, and then in these games, on the pitch, long balls, a second ball, a throw in, you never know, and then there's a 50-50 ball, and this is then what we can improve, of course, but I'm really honest to you today. I don't care about these things. For me, it's more important the 3 points, and it is massive.
They didn't have many clear-cut chances though as well, so I take it that's quite pleasing.
Yeah, we were organized. I think also our subs make the job done. I think at the moment this is a big competition in my squad, and this is fantastic. And we need everyone, and there comes always a new situation where we have to make a new decision making. Today everyone helps the group bring the game home, make the job done. One more game, international break, and then we will see.
I was listening to you over the last couple of weeks, because there's been some people that have questioned the team's mentality, and you are very clear that it shouldn't be questioned. Is that today a good example of making sure you see the job through?
Yeah, I felt it in the morning. I think the energy was really high when we meet each other and in the stadium. I felt it in the dressing room. There's a really big belief, and we knew the result was not what we want, but we knew as well how it feels on the pitch and how we dominate teams in the last couple of weeks. But we know it's result, and this is what we need today. We make the step. I'm happy for my group. I'm proud of them. You can imagine, if you want after 3 draws in a row, then it could be. But no, there was totally belief. We know which direction we want to go, and this is what we will do.
Well done today.
Thank you so much.
8 cup finals, Mark, is the way Danny Rose put it. Now, I don't like him saying that, Mark, because our players historically in the last 3-4 years haven't dealt well with pressure. So maybe he should be saying 8 dead rubbers, maybe, and then we'll win all 8 games. But look, just taking away from what Danny's saying there, he's pretty much said what we said at the start of the show. It's a win. I don't care about the performance. We win and we move on.
Yeah, that's exactly the mantra that the players should take on going forward. There's 3 points, we move on, but performances need to improve to make it a little bit safer going forward, because 1-0 is always risky. And we've been caught out too many times this season to be walking that line. So I think we need to be a bit more killer instinct and putting teams to bed. But it's 3 points and we move on. So onwards to the next one against Aberdeen, and then we take it from there. It's just like he says, 8 cup finals. I get what he's trying to put into the players, but like you say, we have a knack of effing that up in recent history. So it's kind of not a term that I'd be using, but it's just I'd just be marking them down game by game. You've got them up there, and it's just on to the next one. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with it. But I agree with what he says, and the whole he is kind of trying to G the boys up and get them. They've got the belief that they can win the games, but they just have to put the performances out on the pitch week in, week out. And if it's a 1-0 and we win the title, no one's going to care. Do you know what I mean?
No,
that's the mentality that I think he's got.
And to amazing though, Alex, how week after week, in fact, just before I come to that, I'm going weird beard. Now, I think obviously he's talking about Mark there, right? Because he's got the weirdest beard out of all of us. Excuse me. Weird
You
beard.
What do you mean? You see
Yours is shaped. Mine's is just left. Pretty much that's what mine is.
But
Paul's saying we won 3 points. A clean sheet, happy. And Scott's he's back in. Get Gogic in the octagon. Alex trim that beard as well. So Scott's clearly got an issue with both of us, but it doesn't say anything about Mark. Which is pretty poor. But Paul and Scott, thank you very, very much for the super chats. Thank you very, very much for the support. Isn't it weird, Alex, how I've been so down the last sort of 3 weeks, and especially since obviously the 2 Old Firm games at Ibrox kind of just tipped me over the edge in terms of where I think this Rangers team's going this season. But then Kilmarnock come in and kind of spoil the party a little bit last night, and I do want to a wee bit later on before we finish up touch on Finlay Curtis, because I didn't see the game yesterday, but all the reports I'm hearing is that he was the best player on the park, right? And that's against the team you could say the top team in the league, because they're top of the league. But isn't it weird how a couple of weeks, how much of a difference that makes in football, Alex? Now I'm genuinely sitting here going, right, hold on a minute. We're 3 points behind Hearts, we're a point behind Celtic. We've got 3 games to go until the split. Maybe, just maybe.
I mean, listen, I think we got almost carried away when we beat Hearts, and I think that the players kind of got themselves as well. They got carried away thinking that the fight was already done when it was pretty much at starting stage at that point, and then it was been draw after draw. Obviously, losing in the cup to Celtic hasn't helped as well, but it's a good way to bounce back. Obviously, getting the 3 points today. I will touch on Conor Barron in a second because I thought it was great to see him in there. But football's a funny thing right now, just because of the way that we are feeling. I feel a bit shite, but we won. Do you know? It's a weird way of looking at it, because you're like, oh, it was a poor performance, but we still won. We still got that 3 points. We're on to Aberdeen now at home. I think that it was a good result for Rangers. The issue is that, and I agree, Ian Thompson's put it in a few times, that the biggest issue for us is that we actually lack clinical goal scorers. We had Chimiti and Nadiri starting, then we took off Chimiti and put Nadiri up top on his own, and then we brought off Nadiri and put on Miovski, and none of them really looked like getting a goal today, bar the Chimiti chance he had, and that's the poor thing. But then we've got no real quality of goals in the midfield either. I mean, once we talk about it, it was a great ball from Nico Raskin, but if we can get the points against Aberdeen before the international break, and then the wins before the split, we're in a strong position, because we still have to play the teams above us. But again, we're back to this wanting teams around us to do us a favour, and that's the hard thing. We shouldn't be relying on other teams to do us a favour. We should be doing it ourselves, and that's probably been our performance over the past wee while, that we're relying on others. But listen, dismiss us at a hard place to go in Paisley. We've got the 3 points. Let's just move on to Aberdeen now.
Well, what we can say, Mark, is that we can say the exact same as what Hearts and Celtic can say, is that the title is now back in our hands. We can, if we win every game, we probably win the league. You'd have to say, because the goal difference is very similar to Hearts. Goal difference could become very important in this title race, and that worries me slightly, Mark, because as Alex is saying, that's another game without Chimiti or Nadiri scoring. That's another game where, all right, he's not been given a hell of a lot of time, but Miovski's came on and just not been involved in the game whatsoever, we do look very powder puff up front.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I said in the comments to our group about it just doesn't seem to work, the striker setup. I don't know what system they're trying to play. Obviously, you see the system on the pitch, but I don't know the interplay between them. There just doesn't seem to be a lot of chance creation. There's not a lot of shooting from distance. We don't pepper goals. I know Alex said we had, 17 shots today and 7 on target, but I didn't really feel like we were peppering and they were under pressure for most of that game. It seemed like it was going to be a 1 or 2 goal was going to win that game. So there's something clearly not working in the final third with the strikers, because you've got Chermiti and obviously Nadiri trying, but then they put Miovski on for 10, 12 minutes, doesn't do anything. That's another game. So it is a worry going forward, because like you say, goal difference is 27 plus 27 for us, I think, in Hearts, and Celtic have got plus 24. So it's really tight. So if we keep scraping the 1-0 wins, there is a chance that we could be beaten to the title by goal difference, and that would be a gutter. I mean, regardless of where we've come from this season, we're in the position we are now, so we're going for the title. I think that needs to be solved in the next game against Aberdeen at home. I think we're going to have to get it solved. It's something he's going to have to work out why it's not working, but it clearly isn't, because I do see Nadiri as a good player, and I also think that Chermiti does work well on a 2, but sometimes it's just not clicking. So I don't know where they're failing in training, because it doesn't seem to translate into consistent goal scoring from the strikers. Any of the 3 of them, it doesn't seem to be consistently producing goals. Or we're relying on like Raskin, like a header or a nice little bit of play to set up one of the wingers, and we're getting goals that way. But you need to be getting your strikers producing, otherwise it's going to be really difficult to win the league. But I think I can't put my finger on it. I wouldn't say they're not good enough. I just can't put my finger on why we're not producing.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, he mentions Nico Raskin. Did we see a slightly different? And by the way, happy Mother's Day to all the mums watching, and happy Mother's Day, mum, and happy Mother's Day to all the mummies out there. Nico Raskin, Alex, did he have a slightly different role in the team? Did he? For me, and again, one of the biggest positives I think we've had this season is Chukawani in the middle of the park, Alex. He strolls games. He absolutely strolls them. But it's not up to him to create chances and get goals. He is a 6 for me, Chukawani. So did we see a slightly different role for Raskin? It felt to me anyway, Alex, as if he was forward a lot more today than what he has been.
You could see that. You definitely could today from Nico Raskin. I think it was more on Chukwueze to play the defensive role. Like, he was the holding midfielder, and Raskin was given the freedom to go forward. He seemed to be almost a connecting point between between Gassama and Tav. He seemed to be the player in the middle that was able to link up a lot. So I think it was definitely a different game from Nico. Obviously, it's a great assist that he puts in as well. A lot of the players thought it was already gone, but Romans at the back post. But I think Ian's right. We still don't know his best position, but I thought he had a better game today. We spoke about it on the build-up that we needed to see that a bit more from Nico Raskin. He seems to be a lot more hot and cold, but today he actually put in a great ball, and it was a great goal. And I think he seems to play better going forward, but then he always looks for that extra pass rather than just having a shot himself. And I think there's an opportunity for Nico Raskin to almost insert himself in that forward role, because he sits right behind the strikers for a lot of the game. He does a lot of work to wrap it up, but then there was opportunities where Tab was forward, and then you see Raskin right back. And you're going, all right, okay, so he's come from right at the far end of the pitch to then inserting himself at fullback. So we're still seeing an all-round game here from Nico, where he's able just to insert himself into different positions. He's gone to centre-back when the players go forward. He goes right back. He goes into the more attacking midfield role. But he seems to just be finding a way to find himself in the game, regardless of where he is.
Yeah, I do tend to agree. And Alex mentioned it there, Mark, and as multiple man saying, how good was that finish by Romans? I mean, he's right up there with Chukawani for me in terms of, even if you look at the signings that we brought in the summer, I think they two have been by far the best. They lead the way, and Romans just adding to that impressive start that he's already had by scoring. And that was a finish that I don't think Chermiti scores.
Well, I think he sells Shamal George the wrong way. He thinks he's just going to open his foot and tap it into the left-hand side, left post, but he doesn't. He comes back across him and just dinks it past him. It's a nice little worked goal as well. And I just do him a world of confidence for the boy because he's been playing well. I think that's just what he needed. But I think you're right with the two players that you're picking out that have been the best of the bunch that we've bought in January. I think Scovolson, I want to see more of him. He's got talent undoubtedly, but he needs to show more and produce more. But I think him being on the bench kind of tells you where Danny's seeing him right now, that he's not producing. So he starts from the bench. But the two boys that they brought in, they are looking good, and I think it only bodes well for the future if we can recruit well in the summer. Hopefully we win the league. That's what I'm going for, the league. But if we do that and then we recruit well in the summer, I think we're on to a reasonably decent team, and we can put a hopefully a lot stronger challenge next season and make it more comfortable than it's been this season to get ourselves back into that position. But yeah, I think the two boys have got a bright future.
I mean, the only one negative, Alex, with Romans is that he was obviously taped up the day before the game. He comes off, obviously, as a precaution just to protect him. He came to the club with an injury. I just hope this isn't another one of those players who is exceptionally good but is blighted by injury. That might just be me being overly pessimistic, Alex, because since he got over that injury, he's pretty much been a starter in the team every week. Mm-hmm. Just I hope that we've not got a player who's susceptible to the odd injury, because I think what you see is, Alex, in seasons where you've got a class player, like, for example, and I'm not putting him in the same level of injury, but as a Kmart Roof, right? Mm-hmm. See if you've got or a John Sterling. See if you've got a really good player who misses 4 weeks here, 4 weeks there, 5 games here, 2 games there. It affects you, Alex.
It does, but if this is Tur Romans with an injury, wait till you see what he's going to be like when he's fully fit, because my God, he's impressing everybody when he's apparently carrying an injury. Yes, he was taped up, and I think obviously bringing on Jaden Magoma just to keep that back line obviously a bit tighter isn't a bad thing. But if this is Romans just with a knock, then wait till he gets fully fit. I think that he looked very, very comfortable today. There was an opportunity where he was tracking back and he won the ball, but then the ball gets put up in the air. He wins the header and chases the loose ball on himself. So he definitely has got a fight in him. You just hope that he isn't like a Dujon Sterling where he's going to miss 3 or 4 weeks due to an injury. You hope that the fact he's going to have almost a week off is going to make him get that bit of rest and that bit of time to heal up.
What are you talking about, Alex? We've got an international break.
So would they, mate. I forgot about that. We've got the international break. No, you hope that he's going to be fully fit for the Aberdeen game. If not, we do have Jaden Magoma now. A lot of people kind of have forgotten about Magoma because of the impact of Tur Romans. You know, he's coming and he's just absolutely made that left back spot his. I would like to see Magoma get back in, but he didn't look out of place today. I just think that Tur Romans takes that goal so nicely. The thing is that he missed a similar opportunity at Ibrox a couple of weeks ago in the exact same position. He misses it. He goes for the exact same type of finish and just didn't come off. But today it did, and it was a very classy finish because everybody left it and Romans kept chasing it. Even the defender for St Mirren left it. He thought it was going out for a goal kick, and Romans was straight onto it, and he side foots it into the back of the net. So it's a great wee finish. But if he needs a rest, give him a rest, because we have got an international break coming up. But Aberdeen is just a bigger game as St Mirren was today.
Yeah. Just on one of the incidents, Mark, there was a foul on Chermiti. And I can't remember which St Mirren player it was, so do forgive me. But there's a clip doing the rounds on Twitter. And that the Refs podcast, the Refs View with Des Roach and Steve Conroy. Steve Conroy, by the way, who I've interviewed and is a big Celtic supporter, both came out and said that should have been a red. No intent to play the ball. What was it they called it? Serious foul play. I've got to be honest, Mark, from me looking at it and the way that we always describe these things, if that's a Rangers player that does that, I'm probably raging if they get sent off for it.
I would agree.
I would say it's a yellow card, 100% a yellow card, and the player's then walking a tightrope, but I don't think that's a red for me.
No, I thought, I'm sure it was the big lad, Phillips. I'm sure. Well, as I said that to you before, I think it is Phillips, but it's a yellow card definitely. But a red would have been a bit of a stretch. But who knows nowadays with the laws of the game, like dangerous, was it serious foul play?
Foul play.
Yeah, it could be endangering an opponent, whatever, because he clearly isn't going for the ball. But I think a yellow would have been sufficient, but he didn't even get that. So obviously it wasn't deemed worthy of any sort of card. But I think I don't think the ref had any major influence on the game
He
today.
kept getting in the road. He just kept getting in the road.
Aye, I think that's it. I think he needs to get on the treadmill a wee bit, run up and down the lines a bit more, get himself a bit fitter to perform his duties as a ref. But no, he didn't have a major impact in the game, so it probably would have been a red would have definitely been harsh, mate. But a yellow was fair to me, I think.
Well, as Martin O'Neill says, blue card. Yeah, possibly a blue card. If you want to go and start doing all that. Look, Stephen McLean's a dreadful referee. Just I don't know him personally, so I'm not going to make any aspersions on his personality or anything like that. In terms of a referee, he's dreadful, Alex, and it's so much easier. And we repeat this all the time. It's so much easier to say this after you've won because it doesn't sound like sour grapes. He didn't do anything majorly wrong the day, to be honest, Alex, but it was a fairly easy game for him.
It was a fairly easy game, but the fact that when we were talking about the incident that he missed, where obviously the referee saying it's a straight red, he's right in front of it, and he just chalks it away and tells us to play on. You can quite clearly see Chimiti's in pain. He's rolling about, and he waves him on, tells him to get up and just keep going. And then about 10 minutes later or so, there's a ball played in the middle of the park, and he's standing right in the way of it. Doesn't do a drop ball, nothing. Just goes, oh, sorry, keep going. Like, you've literally stopped the play. The ball's right behind you, and then our defenders had to run and get the ball. But he's like, I play on, it's fine. That's impacted the game. He just actually is a very poor referee, but he didn't have a hard job today. There wasn't many. There is one that the comments are screaming to talk about. One of the instances that he took.
Go for it then, Alex. Take it away.
Well, I mean, it's the handball from Alex Gogic. Ball comes in. I think it's Chimiti that headers it. Ball's coming in, hits Alex Gogic in the hand, and it obviously changes direction. I said on the pod, and I've looked it back, I said it was a penalty. I was adamant it was a penalty, but I mean, his hand's by his side. There's about 2 or 3 players behind him. The issue is that they talk about proximity. Well, proximity only seems to come into effect with certain teams. It was checked and cleared within seconds. For me, it does hit his hand, and it is a penalty. You can't not give it as a pen. I think it is. I think it's a penalty because it hits his hand. It's going towards goal. Is it Raskin that hits it? Right, okay. But still, I think it's a penalty for me. But at the same time, when I looked at it, I was like, maybe not. His hand's down by his side, but it does go towards goal. The only thing I did say was that it doesn't impact the game too much because Rangers come away with the 3 points. But they talk about proximity. They talk about the silhouette of your body. Are you making your body bigger? Well, Alex Gogic did none of that. He's standing with his hand by his side, and it does strike him in the hand. But a lot of the comments and a lot of people at the time were saying, Sterling's wins a handball, so's that. Well, Sterling's hands.
Look, Alex, that's
you know what I mean.
That's where I'll agree. That if you're going to start giving Sterling's and you're going to start giving other handballs, then it's a penalty, right? For me, and I'll always be consistent on this, and I've said the one against Sterling was never a penalty. That today was never a penalty. What is Gogic meant to do? Yeah. How close is the ball to him? There is nothing. He can't move his hand to stop the ball because it's that close to him. So therefore, no, that's never a penalty in a million years. But judging by some penalties that have been given this season, then you would think, well, hold on, there's been penalties given for less.
I will preface it by saying as well, though, that I did say at half-time that some of the penalty calls over recent weeks are getting a bit silly because there was an incident later on in the half where Ryan Nadiri hits a shot and he's screaming for a penalty. When you look at it, it actually hits him in the thigh, nowhere near his hand, hits him in the thigh, and they're screaming for a penalty. So I think right now you're getting to a point where players are just screaming for everything. And as Aldo says in the comments, the lack of consistency is awful. But it's getting to a point where they're screaming for everything. Because if you look back at last night, Kilmarnock v Hearts, Claudio Braga is tripped. Now, if he goes down, it's a penalty, but he does everything to stay on his feet, so it's not given. He's using his hands to try and scramble to stay on his feet. If he goes down, it's a penalty. And I think the consistency level is getting poor, but we're screaming for everything right now. And I think that's where VAR's got even probably more of a harder job, because we're screaming for everything. We want everything checked and reviewed, and it's not making the referee's job any easier. We said that we didn't want to do the referee's job for him. Now, some of the calls have been absolutely poor, and we have to. But at the same time, the referee's got a clear view on that. And I agree with what you've said there. What's Gogic meant to do? Is he meant to just take his hand off and go, sorry, that's in the road?
I've only seen it once, right? So I'm literally judging this on seeing it once. But Mark, from what I've seen, you cannot give a penalty for that. Just like you couldn't or shouldn't have been given a penalty against Dujon Sterling. We've heard the words, Mark, come out of Willie Collins' mouth. You know, there needs to be a higher level a risk when it comes to giving these penalties. We need a higher burden of proof.
That's exactly that. But like you're saying, there's a lack of consistency on decisions week to week. So I don't think it was a penalty today myself. I think it was too close when the ball's hit off his hand and his natural shape and the proximity and all that sort of nonsense. But if you're going to do that, then the Dujon Sterling one isn't, because the ball's headed down onto his arm when he's in a position on the line. So it's too close that he can't do nothing, but that's given. So then you could shout for that to be given. But I think the rules are in the ambiguity between different refs picking, all right, that's a penalty or that's not, or the VAR saying it's not a penalty, but the next week they'll give something exactly the same or similar, and that's a penalty. It doesn't make sense. So I think it's just a really poor level of referees in Scotland, which isn't being addressed. And I thought VAR might make that better, because they've got time to look back on it. They have time to look back on that, slow it down, run a few different frames and angles, and they still come to terrible decisions week in and week out. I mean, sometimes we'll scream for decisions that aren't actually penalties or whatever, because that's what you do as a fan base. But sometimes it's clear and obvious, and it doesn't get given to us. And then decisions go against us, which you think that's definitely not a penalty. And it just, the lack of consistency, until we address the main issue of the referee's level of training and performance, and there's some sort of way of redressing them for poor performance, then I don't think it's going to change. And the same with the VAR. They make decisions, but fundamentally, do they get in trouble for making the wrong decisions? I don't really think so. So there's no checks and balances against that. But I think it wasn't a penalty today. And that same Dujon Sterling's, I don't think that was a penalty either. But it's just really, really poor refs in Scotland.
Yeah, and I don't see it. We talk about it every week. I don't see it getting any better. I really don't see it getting any better at all. We do have a super chat from our very own Smudge. At least we played both halves in the same way this week, Alex. Shite. We struggle with no midweek games, in my opinion.
Aye, I don't even know what to say to that, to be fair. So, aye, we played shite. But the difference is that a lot of the time when we play shite in both halves, we don't come away with a win. We did today. We did get the 3 points, but I fully agree with you. I think that one of the biggest issues for Rangers is that we don't have that midweek game. I think we've relied a lot, Mark, on fitness, on preparation, on like technique, whatever, on that midweek game, and we've just not had it at all. I think that you can see it when we've had that midweek game, be it Europa League, be it a league game, we just seem to be that bit sharper. And I think these players take the rest a bit too literally, and actually rest quite a lot during the midweek. I don't think Danny Rowe's the type of manager to let them, but it just doesn't seem like there's a level of consistency week to week.
I think you get into a rhythm of playing games. So I think 3 games a week is probably a better rhythm. You get one on the weekend, one in the midweek, and then another one at the weekend. I think, like you're saying, with the gap in between Sunday to Sunday or Sunday to Saturday, there's no one. You need that game in the middle to keep up your level of match fitness as such. I don't know. That seems to be the way where we have a week clear. We always seem to be producing poorer performances, if you know what I mean. So we bounce from, like you're saying, Europe or a cup game or whatever it is, a midweek league game. It tends to produce better performances if we're doing that. But now we don't have that now, because it's at the business end. So we're going to beat them. We're not in any of the cups now. So it's going to be weekend to weekend basically. And then, like I say, with the international break coming up, not next weekend, the weekend after, you're going to have more time on the training field. So hopefully it does well. But I always say it when we get the time on the training field that hopefully we're going to see improved performances, but it hasn't really come to fruition this season. But I think it's, as I've shown, like pre-season fitness comes into it as well. If you don't have such a intense pre-season, you're going to start flagging off. You don't have the energy levels to keep going, and I think we do look a bit leggy, especially up front. Once we start getting to the 60, 70-minute mark, it seems to be that they're flagging, and that's why I'm saying they seem to tend to try to sit back, and then we start inviting pressure. But you can see the managers get forward. But I think it's just a poor preparation at the start of the season, and now obviously we're seeing the bad side to a poor prep in the pre-season. So that's leading to these performances. But I think there's nothing we can do about that now. But yeah.
No, definitely not. And Smudge, thank you very much for your super chat, buddy. It is greatly appreciated for the channel. I was going to say it and then Martin disappeared, so thank you very much, mate. It is very much appreciated.
No, thank you very much, Smudge. Massive supporter of the channel, has been for many, many years now. So thank you very much. Alex, what did you make of Tav today? It was interesting to me, obviously, Dujon Sterling not getting on the park at all. So that's him rested up again for another week. But I kind of got the feeling that the manager knew we were going to have most of the ball. He knew St Mirren were going to sit back, and he was more interested in the quality of the balls into the box than what it was from your right back defending. That seemed to be that for me is a decent reason why you play Tav today.
Tav was a bit of a strange one today. I thought he was decent on the pitch, but his set pieces were absolutely woeful. So many of his corners weren't beating the first man. There was a few that just went out of play. They weren't reaching the players. I thought they were a lot better when they were coming from Romans on the other side, or when he was playing them short. He was doing the short corner with Mikey Moore, and that seemed to work a bit better. But I thought he was definitely on for the set piece element of being able to try and, if there's a cross that comes to him, get it in the box, because he was trying it a fair amount. I think he was also heavily relying on Gisama, who wasn't really there today, to be fair. But I thought that Tav did his job. It is Tav being played to rescue John Sterling for Aberdeen, maybe. But it is a bit of a worry that he didn't get on at all. I think he was all right. I mean, his shot was very good, by the way. It was a great save from Shamal George. That was going right in the corner. And you're actually raging that the goalie gets a hand on it, because it was a very good one. But then I think he might have been, James, I think you might be right, but then his corners didn't improve in the second half when we had the wind in our favour. So you've got to say that they didn't improve when the elements were for us or against us, and that's probably the worry. But you could definitely see that today was relying on the set pieces because of the way that St Mirren usually do set up. Yeah.
I mean, I suppose there's a bit of protection there, Mark, for Dujon Sterling. He played, obviously, most of the cup final in the extra time and stuff like that. He played the full 90 the week before against Celtic. So I suppose it's good management by Danny Rowell in a way to say, no, you can just get a little bit more time on the training pitch and you can sit this one out.
Treat him with kid gloves, because he's obviously come back from injury and he is obviously made of glass. So you got to protect the guy. I mean, I think he's the better option out of myself at the two of them. But like we're saying, he's not had a good record of recovery from injury and then been able to string 10, 15, 20 games in a season. So I think it makes perfect sense. Tav still offers you certain things. That the shot was unlucky, it didn't go in. It was a good shot, and I think some of his crossing is poor. I think that's his delivery is starting to go in and out, where he used to be really consistent, but it's starting to be a more inconsistent. But the wind did play a part in the rain today, played a part in that. But I think going forward it would be Dujon, but protecting him like that makes sense, because he's run himself into the ground. So I think it's perfect management to keep him off the field for this game, and then obviously I think he'll be back against Aberdeen next weekend. So I think it's good man management by Danny Rowell, keeping him on the sidelines this week.
If you don't need to use him, you don't use him.
Exactly.
To be fair. For anybody that's interested, by the way, it is half time in the Northern Irish League Cup final. It is Glentoran 0, Linfield 0 at half time. That's the game that I've got on beside me, by the way. That's I can see people talking in the comments about Man U and about the Dundee derby.
I've got the Man U game on, aye.
Nope, Northern Irish League Cup final. That's what I'm watching. But yeah, I mean, as kind of Greg's saying, the title race is on now. Very good result today, and an awkward place to go. And I think that's what a lot of us will be thinking now. Until such times as we're about to play Aberdeen, and we go, oh, right, okay, I don't know how confident I feel. Until before every game, especially away games. It's just, yeah. So I don't want to come on here and be too happy and go, right, we're back in a title race. This is it. And then we falter at some point, and then I'm back on giving it, oh, it's all over. It's done. Everybody just unsubscribe, cancel your memberships, and never watch another Rangers podcast again. You know, so you're up and down.
The life of Rangers.
Mark, mate, I'm coming straight back to you. Honest opinions, mate, if you please. I know you always do anyway, but Deji Gassama, what's going on there? Is it simply just confidence?
Why? What's happened with him?
He's rotten.
Nah, I don't think so. I thought he was rotten, but I've changed my mind, mate. I don't think he's that bad a player, if I'm honest. Oh, Gassama, sorry, yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of.
Who did you think I was talking about?
Dajiga. Yeah, Gassama.
I was me there. I'm like, really? Are we getting an honest opinion here?
I'm like that, right? So hold on a wee second. You thought Gassama played well? What?
No. I thought you were talking
about that international break. You're not in there.
It's done his heat. His heat's gone. His heat's
Sorry,
absolutely
mate.
Gone.
No, he was woeful, mate. Yeah, again, I don't know. Putting him on the right doesn't help him. I don't think that helps the guy because he's obviously not. He's not. I don't think he works well on the right hand side. So I think we're not playing to his whatever strengths it is that he's got. But I think he doesn't offer us anything. He's always chopping back. His decision making is poor. His pass selection isn't great either. So I don't know what's going on with the guy, but I think he needs some time out the team. I said that a couple of weeks ago on one of the previous pods that I was on, that he needs a bit of time out the team because he isn't producing. So I don't understand why we're persisting with him, because we've got options. Where's Ant-Man? Why is Ant-Man no in? He must not be offering enough in training, that he's not even getting a sniff. I'd rather have Skov Olsen there than him myself, so I don't see why he's getting a game. He's trying to build his confidence, maybe, but then you're playing him when he's playing poorly, and you're playing him on the wrong side. He's not producing anything. So you're actually going to damage the boy's confidence even more. So I think he had a woeful game, if I'm honest, now that I know which player you're talking about. I don't know what happened there, mate.
As Choco Fly JM Oko says, Alex, I really want to know the context behind that name. But channel member, we already know Gassama doesn't play well on the right. At what point do we blame Roll for his performance? Even when he's played on the left, Alex, he's not done much recently in the last few months. So at what point do we start questioning Daniel Roll and why he's starting him?
Biggest issue you've got is the fact that Skov Olsen hasn't been playing great either. And obviously Ant-Man was only just back on the bench today after an injury, so he's not really going to get a start. So he's between a bit of a rock and a hard place, Daniel Roll, with who do you start, who's going to be the better of the two poor players, because neither of them are going to get on the left over Mikey Moore. Yes, he didn't have a great game today. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I thought he was pretty poor today, but neither of those two are going to replace him. And I think that if you're Jerry Gassama, it is Gassama we're talking about. I just want to clear that one
definitely up. Gassama, definitely.
When I thought about Gassama, he was so poor in that first half. Some of his touches were so poor. His passing, his confidence, just his ability to pick the right ball, just wasn't there. Is that confidence? Is that a lack of game awareness? Is that just not wanting to play? I don't know, but he definitely needs to figure something out, because he's turning into very much an impact player. He can come off the bench and maybe make an impact, but maybe no, and that's definitely what we don't need, because Gassama needs to be coming on and giving us the confidence that when he gets the ball, he's going to score. He doesn't do that at all. The thing is, Cassie, I don't think he plays well on either side. I don't think we've seen it for a long time from Gassama. He plays well. I think the only time he played well was against Hearts when he got on and he played that ball through to Chimiti to get his hat trick. Bar that, we've not really seen much of him on the left to do to justify him actually starting. And I think there has to be a bigger conversation of, if Ant-Man is back and fit, does he actually stay in the team over Scott Wilson and Gassama? Because he seems to have done more of an impact than the two of them as of recent. Yes, he's been injured, but Scott Wilson, when he was on today, didn't look like he was into the game at all. There was points I forgot he was even on.
He done better, Alex, in terms of his ability to pass the ball. But as Ian Thompson says in the comments, saying that he came on and done slightly better than Gassama doesn't mean that he played well. He didn't really bring much to the game. Mark, again, Olsen certainly not, Mark, anything near what we expected.
No, definitely not. He's been disappointing since he's come in. But there is a player there. There's a decent player there. I think it was the Danish boss was in the crowd watching for the upcoming international. So I don't know, maybe he's shat the bed because he was there watching when he did get his little bit of time to come on and try and show us something. But he didn't really offer us anything extra. He hasn't really offered us a lot since he's came in, but he hasn't played a lot of games this season, so that's no on him. That's not his fault, but he's not offering us enough. So I think Ant-Man, I don't know why Ant-Man's not getting a game, but I'd be more willing to look at getting Ant-Man on because he doesn't seem to even get a sniff. Gassama definitely needs time off the field because he's offering us nothing. He's actually a hindrance sometimes. Some of his ball, his pass selection,
his decision making, Mark's terrible.
Yeah, that's what I mean, because he's passing the ball and it's causing a turnover, and then they're doing a counter attack, so he's putting us under pressure. And he doesn't do it once a game; he does it a few times. So I think he definitely needs to be dropped out of the team. But obviously, the manager sees something in him. But I'd be more inclined to try Scott Wilson or Ant-Man. I know Scott Wilson isn't producing, but he doesn't offer you that poor performance. He's turning that turnover for them to counter attack us. So I don't know what's going on with Gassama. He's a young lad, but he just seems to be struggling somehow to put performances in. So give him a bit of time on the bench.
Loads of people in the comments, Alex, talking about moving Mikey Moore into the 10 role. Now, what I don't understand is, and many of them would have been the same people who would say that Jermaine can't play up top himself, we need to play two up top. So if you're playing two up top, how on earth can you play somebody in a 10?
It doesn't really work doing that, to be fair. You're not really getting him in that position. And I think Danny Rose he's been trying to get this formation of the 4-2-2 going for a long time, and he seems to have got that today. I don't really think we see an instance where you get Mikey Moore in the 10. Now, he naturally will drift into that position behind the strikers. We see it a lot. He tries to drift in, and that's where he gets some of his best play. But he's ultimately going to have to be out on the left to be more of an impact. And I've seen a few comments there asking me what's Ryan Nadiri done. Well, he's done the square root of nothing, but he's done nothing. Let's not kid about. He's not scored. He scored against Queen's Park, and that's been it. So he obviously has to show it as well. But it's not just on him. Chimitti's not done a lot. Yes, Chimitti scored some fantastic goals in the past couple of weeks, but it's been pointed out that he can only score against the top two teams, and it's true. He doesn't score against anybody else, so that's a massive thing. Nadiri does work his socks off for Amy, I will give you that, but that's not going to get you goals, and that's one of the biggest issues. He had opportunities today and he's not getting it. He then had the opportunity, albeit it was only like 5 minutes or so, to play that solo striker. Still didn't get it. Now, he didn't get much service, but he didn't create much either. And it's going to be a massive issue because we brought Bojan Miovski off the bench, who also didn't do much. Yes, he almost got the pass that set up Moore, who then played it across to Asgard for the offside goal. But when you look at it, none of our three strikers are actually doing much to fill you with confidence that if they get one-on-one, they're going to score.
Yeah, I do get that feeling as well. Mark, just finally, mate, the offside goal. Now, I think his toe's probably just offside, right? I think when you see the first replay, probably, right? But it's hard to tell, right? And then it shows you the graphic with the lines. I don't maybe I'm remembering wrong, and if I am, I'll hold my hands up and say I'm getting this completely wrong. It looks to me as if they've actually moved either Asgard forward or the ball. It looks nothing like the initial replay.
Yeah, I was the same. I mean, I'm not suggesting that they have done some sort of trickery with the cameras. That bit does look like it. When I was watching, my feed was on Rangers TV, so when you're watching it and they stop it, and then they show you the ones when they've actually made a decision, it doesn't look the same image. But they're really, really tight. I think next season we're going to have that. It's the clear and obvious in it. So that's like there's got to be a whole player distance because they're changing the rules on offside. So something like that next season, it would be a goal. But for this season, obviously, it's if you've got a toenail in front, it's offside, which I've never agreed with because it doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it looked like they've rearranged the lines, but
it was weird. It was so
weird.
weird.
I don't know what image they used, but it seems like they've moved it a frame forward, and then they've taken that image, which doesn't give you it. So I thought he was like razor if he was on or off. So, but they obviously the ones that made that decision, and they've chopped off a perfectly good goal for me, I think.
Again, it just makes Scottish football, Alex, look stupid for me. It's horrendous, mate. It's absolutely horrendous. And again, that's me not saying, I'm not saying that they've changed anything. I don't know if something in the way that their computers work or whatever makes it go like that. But it was extremely embarrassing.
It's horrendous. Listen, he's offside. When I looked at it, I was like, he's off. And even he goes, he's going, oh, it was close. But the lines look like they've just gone, right, let's just guess. Oh, we'll stop it there. Right, he's offside. Because it looks like they've just put two images together because the lines are nowhere near like where he actually is. The line's like so far in front of him. It's like I was like, literally, when you look at it, they're like right in line with each other. So it's maybe just a toe, as Mark says, a toenail offside, and they've gone, nah, he's about 3 or 4 yards off. When you actually look at the lines they've drawn, and it's like, it's nowhere near that. He's closer to Alex Gogic than that line is. So it's marginally, I'll agree with Ian, it's marginally offside. It's offside. It is, right? We can moan about it, but it's offside. But the lines that VAR have done is a shambles. That's the joking point. The fact that they've gone, who have you just got a ruler out and went, right, let's get it out and we'll get the protractor out and we'll start drawing it and we'll wait for it. Let's see if we can get the Nat 5 maths on the go here and we'll figure this out, because the camera angle that they've shown and then the camera angle that the lines have been drawn are two different. Because if you look at the image of Asgard, why is he blurry? Why is he, I'm like, wait, what? Why is he blurry? It looks like he's moving during the VAR image rather than being a still image that they're supposed to use. It's comical. I just think that it was onside. You bought exactly. I'm bought and paid for. They're going to pay for my mortgage, right? We're good.
How much did they offer you? Because they didn't offer me enough.
A can of juice, mate. That's why I've got this one, right? They're like, you want a can? And I was like, sound, that'll do it.
See, they paid me a can of Coke Zero Cherry, and I don't like Coke Zero Cherry, but it was free. So
I think sorry, Mark, can I just jump in there quickly with the new rule for next year? Basically, an attacker is only penalised if their entire body is ahead of the second last defender. That's the new rule coming in for next season.
Wait till we see. Oh, his heel was a ball hair offside. I can't wait for it.
I know.
Honestly, can't wait.
It makes it clearer. That does sound like that's.
It's going to bring more goals as well. That'll bring more goals.
Yeah,
because defenders will have to defend.
Yeah,
which I've said for years. I agree with. Do you know? It reminds me of Larson, a lot of Larson back in the day, where he would stand in offside positions basically the whole game, and then just quickly nip on and score. That's now what players can start doing, because all you have to do is have 1 foot over next to a player and you're onside, which I think is the way it should be. I think that makes football more entertaining. Football is about watching goals, so I absolutely think that's the right decision, 100%.
Well, I think they're starting at the Canadian League. I think they're going to start in the Canadian League, and then they're going to look to make it more widespread, 26, 27. So it might not be exactly at the start of next season, but it's coming in. So it's a good rule. I think they call it, this is the Wenger rule, like somebody was saying in the comments. It is the Arsene Wenger rule. Basically, the whole body needs to be in front of the second last defender. So a bit better than it is now, because it's like ridiculous nowadays.
Yeah.
Spoke about it on Wednesday night, though. It's the fact that VAR and their angles are so poor. Like the way that the cameras are set up within Scottish football is just so poor. You look down south, the amount of angles they've got for an offside is better, and then they've obviously got the semi-automated VAR as well, so that'll tell you if somebody's off or not. We just don't have any of that at all. We've got angles that look at Motherwell and Fir Park. Their angles are shocking, and yet we stick by that, and that's why VAR will always be laughed at. And as Gallant said, it's guesswork, because I mean, our league, it's so poor. They could have cameras set up in so many different positions, yet they put it in the dodgy ones so that the decisions will always be contentious.
Yep, I'm just sorry. I was just looking there at some stuff coming through about some other games. I think, is it finished, Dundee Derby? Is it finished?
I think it's finished 2-1 to Dundee United. Sorry,
I think Dundee equalised.
Did it? Aye, they did actually. Ross Graham scored an own goal. I think they got it 2 each.
Well, boo-hoo for Dundee United, eh? And Jim Goodwin, a man who should not be refereeing in the top flight of Scottish football. But anyway, folks, listen, thank you very, very much for giving us an hour of your time. I'm back at 8 o'clock tonight for CEO and above for your match day extra, where you can phone in and have your say. And then, of course, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., we have the Monday morning phone in, which is obviously also a public show as well. And then it's a member show from Tuesday to Friday. So hopefully you can join us all at 10 a.m. and let's hear your thoughts on the game. Alex, Mark, thank you very, very much for joining me. Like I say, if you could like, share and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. And of course, if you want to help out a little bit more and get access to loads and loads and loads of extra content, I don't do topless shows. Just about everything but topless shows, because you really don't want to see me topless. Then click the links in the description below, either on YouTube where you get all the live stuff, or Patreon where you get all the member stuff uploaded shortly after the show finishes. So thank you very, very much, everybody, and we shall speak very, very soon.